This is my audience. All right. My name is Aiden Rodriguez, and today I'm going to be speaking on the history and the career of Kanye West. As he is seen as one of the most influential rappers of all time, as well as one of the most controversial figures in history in the past 20 years. So, how does life begin? Kanye was born into a single mother household as he was raised by his mom, Donda West, in the suburbs of Chicago, and he grew a liking to producing his own music. People saw him producing his beats for hours at a time, and he never really left his desk as a child, as he was always just glued to making music. He began producing his own beats, and he was trying to get recognized by any kind of record label as possible, as he had a unique sound known as chipmunk soul, as he would speed up old records to make them sound higher pitched, and that was his staple, and that became his unique sound, as a lot of other rappers in Chicago at that time were not using that kind of sound. In 2002, he was signed to Rockefeller Records, and he became the right-hand man to Jay-Z, as he even began to produce on his album, The Blueprint. As well, later in the year, 2002, Kanye was involved in a car crash that nearly killed him, and he was left with a broken jaw. And he required surgery, and he had to wired shut for a couple weeks. And during that time, he wrote his song Through the Wire, which debuted on his opening album, The College Dropout, which released on February 10th, 2004. And it sold 441,000 copies according to the Billboard, and it also landed him a spot at the Grammys in 2005, which he won the first 2 of his 24 Grammys of his career. And during that speech, he shined light on how the car crash inspired him to create music, as he said that nothing in life was guaranteed except for death. Shortly after, though, however, in 2005, was seen as his first controversial incident, as on a tele-live for Hurricane Katrina, he was stated saying, "George Bush does not care about black people." And they quickly cut away from him, as this was seen as his first controversial incident, and the media was starting to pick up on his destructive habits. In 2008, his mom, Donda West, passed away from heart conditions, and this really took a toll on him, as well as he produced and put out his album 808s and Heartbreak, which was also another influential album, as it started the heavy use of auto-tune in music, as well as the emotional lyrics that a lot of artists today use as well. In 2009, was seen as one of the biggest moments of his career, as during the VMAs, as Taylor Swift was giving her acceptance speech, he went on the stage and said that Beyonce had the greatest music video of all time. Media now picked up on his destructive habits, and he was seen as a demon according to the media. And he had this new villain persona, which led him to being canceled in 2009. However, he bounced back from this quickly, as in 2010, he went to his retreat in Hawaii and produced one of, according to the Billboard, one of the most influential and greatest albums of the 2010s, as he put out My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, which blended all different styles of hip-hop as well as artists that he was close circled with. And according to Palgrave Macmillan, in her book, The Cultural Impact of Kanye West, which was written in 2015, she said that he pushed the boundaries of hip-hop on this album. His outspoken, cocky, brazen persona had labeled him as the ultimate marketing persona and idol. And this went on to be true, as the easiest form to reach out in the media at that time was through controversy, and he was seen all over the front page of every single news article possible. Time went on, and then in 2013, he released his album Yeezus, which is also seen as influential, as well as he pushed the boundaries of music during the time. He used his persona as a god now, and this picked up on the media outlets as well, as they painted him as a crazy individual that had this insane ego, as he was calling himself a god on his album. And he built a new style and created a new wave of music using electronics and heavy 808s, which is now seen a lot in today's music as well. In 2016, however, he was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, which would explain a lot of his previous outbursts. He would go into states of mania as well. And this would also lead to the decline in his mental health as well, as he refused to get help and he refused to take medication from doctors as well. In 2018, he shifted to politics as he wore a MAGA hat on SNL one night, and now he was being ostracized by the media as being seen as crazy. However, he described it as pushing the boundaries that black artists were not going to push, and he would break traditions and on who he would follow, as he was famously endorsing Trump's campaign during 2018. 2019, however, he shifted back towards home as he found a Sunday Service, which was a religious group that created church music, and this is very influential as he created the album Jesus is Lord, and which used the Sunday Service choir, and it pushed more Christian-friendly music as he cut all the bad lyrics out of his music, and he vowed to be a better man for his family. In 2020, he released an album called Donda, which is dedicated to his late mother, and he claimed that Donda was the rock in his life, as she pushed him to be outspoken and would not be contained in a box. And this can honestly be true, as explaining a lot of his outbursts, as he was voicing his opinion, as growing up he never really was taught to keep that inside. However, after 2020, he began a sharp, steep decline as he wore a White Lives Matter shirt at the 2022 Paris Fashion Week. After that, he was dropped by the Gap partnership he had. He was dropped by Adidas. He dropped all his partnerships. He lost over $6 billion in revenue. And then after that, he was dropped due to his anti-Semitic remarks. And according to The Guardian, these anti-Semitic remarks were the turning point as he lost everything. And the history of Kanye West proves that there's no genius without some insanity, as an artist who went from being one of the most influential figures in hip-hop had fallen to nearly nothing in the span of about 15 years. And his records inspire many today,